Unregulated inventors in the 19th century came up with astonishing devices, using the new tools of mass marketing in newspapers and posters to attract customers to buy their weird and sometimes dangerous products. They were powered by steam or electricity. If you lived in the United States during the 1800s, you and your friends and neighbors would constantly be tempted by advertisements to use the latest newfangled gadgets to improve your family's living conditions, such as a device to stretch your head to enormous proportions to make you look more intelligent despite not graduating from college, to kitchen equipment that can automatically detect toxic clam chowder before it kills the guests at your dinner party. Also needing protection were the 19th century inventors themselves, who put their hearts and souls into making new devices. They hired lawyers to safeguard their business interests by applying for patents. A patent gives you the sole right to produce your invention for a fixed period of time, so you can profit off of your ingenuity without competition. After 20 years, the patent expires and your idea enters the public domain. This is the reason why a new prescription drug might cost hundreds of dollars or more per month when it's a brand name medication, but then becomes extremely cheap after the patent runs out decades later and manufacturers produce generic versions of the pills or elixirs. From the perspective of ordinary citizens, the wheels of progress tend to roll slowly but steadily along, with inventors creating an ongoing stream of new innovations to replace old-fashioned ideas. For example, people struggled with hand-operated plows for thousands of years until the advent of mechanical tractors. We went from communicating by smoke signals to sending text by telegraph to doing video chats by smartphones, with each mechanism protected by patents. And after centuries of the transportation industry being dominated by blacksmiths fashioning steel into horseshoes, workers on factory assembly lines started producing automobiles. With all that progress in mind, a team of university historians who specialize in 19th century inventions, trademarks, marketing, and patents, recently discovered several patent applications for some bizarre devices that went to market between roughly 1830 to 1890 in a file folder marked C. According to historians, these are the top 5 patents for weird and unusual inventions that have names starting with the letter C from the 1800s. Number 1, Cranium stretcher. Not everyone could afford to go to high school, let alone college in the 1800s. But those who wanted to escape the stigma of poverty and a lack of education would use the cranium stretcher to make themselves look more intelligent. The cranium stretcher was a mechanical device that gripped the top of the user's head and gently pulled on it at a rate of 1/50th of an inch per hour. It took about 2 days to stretch your head a full inch. Many people who used this device allowed it to stretch their head for a full week to add about 3.5 inches of height to their head. Marbury Woods Hole, the inventor of the cranium stretcher, was inspired after seeing Natural History Museum displays of people's elongated skulls dating back thousands of years. Ancient rulers from Peru to Egypt stretched out their skulls to show their higher status. Peasants believed that bigger heads meant bigger brains, indicating higher intelligence and the God-given right to rule over them. The 19th century's patented cranium stretcher device was a technological solution to ensure more precise head stretching for wealthy Americans. It's akin to today's vain practice of wearing non-prescription eyeglasses to make yourself appear more intelligent. Number 2, chicken unplucker. For farmers who accidentally plucked more chickens than they needed for a big Sunday dinner, the chicken unplucker contraption automatically reinserted feathers back into the body of poultry, not immediately destined for a meal that day. This device was more about improving chicken's cosmetic appearance than creating tastier dishes. The chicken Unplucker was popular for about 8 years, until industrialists in the 1870s discovered they could use the farmer's excess, prematurely plucked feathers to stuff inside mass-produced pillows for an increasingly weary population seeking relief from insomnia. Number 3, child controller. Having disobedient children would make you the laughingstock of your neighborhood. That's why so many parents in the 1800s would place their kid inside the patented child controller device. It exerted gentle pressure on the young person's body, allowing enough leeway to breathe normally, but not be able to huff and puff into a screaming match about being locked into the patented child controller. Tested at the home for obstreperous children in Pennsylvania, the child controller allowed parents to relax and feel better once their mischievous kid reacted to the treatment and started behaving properly. This device eventually was adapted to become one of the first iron lung machines, which our great nation relied on to help keep polio victims breathing. Number 4, circus interpreter. For many folks in the 1830s, when the circus came to town, it was a bewildering experience. The crowds had no idea why wild elephants were standing in the middle of the proceedings under an enormous tent. The frightened audience wondered who was making sure that the trapeze artists would fly safely through the air and not land on their noggins. Such concerns made attending the circus more torture than entertainment. After P.T. Barnum began touring the United States with his circus in 1835, an entrepreneur named Otis T. Spensamera realized he could ride the coattails of Barnum by creating a mechanical device that used bellows and rubber gaskets, which dynamically changed size and shape to make sounds like human speech. The circus interpreter device told members of the audience what the purpose of a clown was, details about the role of the ringmaster, and explained that trained circus rhinoceroses who could play the piano were not going to steal the jobs of accomplished professional musicians anytime soon. Number 5, Clam Chowder Analyzer. Restaurants and home kitchens in the 1800s that lacked refrigeration and whose cooks were ignorant about food poisoning led to the deaths of hundreds or maybe thousands of folks who inadvertently consumed bad seafood in clam chowder. The clam chowder analyzer consisted of a series of mechanical probes that enter the surface of the clam chowder to chemically analyze the clams and detect any possible viruses, bacteria, and toxins, verifying whether it's safe for people to consume. After widespread use in American kitchens, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that deaths from bad clam chowder plunged by 65%. Coincidentally, the number of clams dying to become chowder also rose by 65%. As a popular ad for the device focusing on statistics about clam deaths versus human fatalities in 1852 put it, "Better them than us." If inventors in the 19th century hadn't enjoyed the protection of the U.S. Patent Office, chances are good that the American public would have been deprived of many important gadgets designed to improve their lives. So we all owe a debt of gratitude to the anonymous patent application officials who helped usher in a new era of invention. If you enjoyed this report, consider sharing it with like-minded friends and tapping the like button so YouTube will share it with more people. Subscribe to Nice Planet to make sure you see each new video. Thanks for watching.